Recent developments suggest Caitlin Clark may be approximately 2 practice sessions away from returning to active basketball participation. New evidence has emerged indicating significant progress in her recovery timeline after being sidelined for over a month. Fresh footage released yesterday shows Clark participating in team activities, with social media observers noting specific details that suggest her advancing status. The CC Report Twitter account highlighted key visual indicators from practice sessions that provide insight into her current condition. The primary discussion point centers around whether Clark should make her comeback during this crucial period. Multiple media outlets, including ESPN, have debated this topic extensively across various platforms, getting her rounds out and making sure she's on her way of coming back. Now we gotta talk about this. So this came out yesterday. Shout out to the CC Report Taylor version on Twitter. And guys, a lot of these Twitter people is who keep us afloat, bruh. I just gotta be honest, man. They just be spawning stuff that we normally don't see. And really yesterday, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I was not on the internet yesterday. I've been taking a lot of time to decompress from content creating, but as we get closer to another month, I gotta get locked back in, man. But I'm not like, the consensus appears to favor her return sooner rather than later, particularly given her potential playoff impact. Questions remain about roster implications for players like Chloe Bibby, Odyssey Sims, Ariel Powers, and others who may face difficult decisions regarding their positions. Clark's anticipated return could necessitate roster adjustments that affect current rotation players. Yesterday's practice footage revealed Clark wearing a blue practice shirt identical to other fully participating teammates. This detail appears significant because it occurred during an away practice session. The team's recent West Coast road trip may have provided an opportunity for Clark to resume full practice participation without local media scrutiny. Previous statements from head coach Stephanie White indicated the team would announce Clark's return when appropriate. The timing of increased practice involvement during road games suggests strategic planning around her comeback. Observations from the footage show Clark appears to have lost weight during her rehabilitation period. Meanwhile, Chloe Bibby was spotted wearing a leg sleeve, raising questions about her own physical status. Coach White was visible wearing a yellow shirt, distinguishing her from players in practice gear. Social media reactions demonstrate the intense scrutiny surrounding every aspect of Clark's recovery. Fans have developed detailed systems for interpreting practice footage, including analyzing shirt colors and participation levels. Comments range from speculation about her next game appearance to roster management concerns. The Chicago Sky matchup has emerged as a potential target date for Clark's return, though this remains unconfirmed. Supporters express interest in attending that specific game based on return speculation. Roster considerations become complex with Clark's impending return. Current hardship signings may face release to accommodate her activation. Video from like Indy is allowed to be there. Because we remember Stephanie White saying that they'll see when Kayla Clark come back. And I just wonder, did they have her come back to full practices on this West Coast trip? Because it's definitely looking that way. She's wearing a blue t-shirt like everybody else. Yeah, probably Kayla Clark is fully back in practice. She's fully involved, and she lost a lot of weight too. The team must balance maintaining depth with complying with roster limits and salary constraints. Additional footage from today shows different shirt color combinations, suggesting a possible coding system for player status. Clark was observed wearing gray today, while Bibby also appeared in gray attire. This pattern may indicate different participation levels or injury statuses. The apparent shirt color system provides fans and observers with unofficial ways to track player availability. Blue shirts may signify full participation clearance, while gray could indicate limited or modified activity levels. This unofficial tracking method has gained traction among dedicated followers. Clark's extended absence created significant attention around her rehabilitation process. Unlike previous seasons where injury situations remained relatively straightforward, this situation has generated sustained speculation and analysis. The Mercury represents the Fever's next opponent, creating a potential timeline for Clark's return. If the two-practice estimation proves accurate, she could potentially return for subsequent games rather than the immediate upcoming contest. Current speculation suggests the Chicago Sky game as a more realistic target, though official confirmation remains pending. And this was just yesterday, so that means she was able to practice. She got hurt at practice, but she practiced yesterday and then late last night, early today, to say she hurt. I don't know, man, it's looking spooky, but let's check out some of these comments. Somebody said, LOL, y'all remember the days of watching these videos intently to make sure Caitlin people wasn't starting what time? What color shirt is Kelsey wearing today? Somebody else said, she'll play against the sky. I just feel that way. I don't know. I want to go to that Chicago. The team continues managing information carefully while allowing Clark adequate preparation time. Fan engagement around practice footage analysis demonstrates the intense interest in Clark's status. Social media users have developed sophisticated methods for extracting information from limited visual evidence, creating informal intelligence networks. The situation highlights how modern sports fandom utilizes technology and social platforms to gather information beyond traditional media channels. Dedicated followers provide detailed analysis that sometimes exceeds professional coverage depth. Roster management complexity increases as the season approaches critical phases. I want to go to that Chicago Sky game. I know it's next week. I'm really thinking about going to that game, and hopefully she play. Because it's getting close to the end of the season, I kind of boycotted the season a little bit, but I think I might go to that Chicago Sky game. I'm very thinking about it. Your boy John look ready going to be there in the flesh. Somebody said I can't see come back without cutting someone. I believe somebody gotta go. What this comment says, somebody said I would rather the team must balance immediate competitive needs with long-term player development and salary considerations. Clark's return timing affects multiple roster decisions beyond simple activation. The extended timeline created opportunities for other players to demonstrate value while maintaining readiness for Clark's integration. This period tested organizational depth and adaptability under challenging circumstances. Current indicators suggest progress toward full participation, though official timelines remain undisclosed. The team appears committed to thorough preparation rather than rushing her return despite external pressure and speculation. The Indiana Fever find themselves in a precarious position following their defeat against the Golden State Valkyries, with their postseason hopes hanging in the balance. While not catastrophic, the loss has created significant challenges for securing a playoff berth and favorable seeding. The mathematics remain relatively simple for Indiana to reach the playoffs. Avoiding a loss to the Washington Mystics would virtually guarantee their postseason participation, given Washington's poor performance this season. The primary concern involves the Los Angeles Sparks, who trail by 2 games with an 18-20 record and 6 contests remaining. For Indiana to maintain their advantage, they need just 1 victory in their final 4 games, while Los Angeles must achieve a 4-2 record. It's a 1-3 down the season. We feel 1-3. And that includes, that's losing to the Sky or the Mystics. Or and the Mystics. Because look, the Fever are probably not winning tomorrow. I think tomorrow's a given that they're going to lose. I'm not too bothered about that game. It's the Friday one that's big. All the Fever have to do is win a game. Realistically, the Fever win one game. The Fever might make the playoffs without winning another game. And the problem isn't making the playoffs. This scenario requires a combination of either Sparks defeats or Fever victories totaling 4 occurrences. Los Angeles faces a brutal closing schedule that makes their required success rate unlikely. The Sparks' remaining opponents include Seattle Storm, Atlanta Dream twice, Phoenix Mercury, and Las Vegas Aces. Such a challenging slate suggests Los Angeles will struggle to reach the necessary 4 wins from 6 games. Even if they manage this feat, Indiana only needs a 1-3 finish to secure their position. However, reaching the playoffs presents a double-edged scenario. The problem isn't making the playoffs. The problem is the worst position the Indiana Fever can be in is 8 and get pummeled by the Lynx. Because if the Indiana Fever, because the Canadians are decided to win a few games, if the Indiana Fever got to 9, they would have the 4th best odds in number 1 pick. There's a chance that you get, this is a 5 or 6 person draft. And the problem is you add 2 expansion teams in, and you go from projected 4th. Securing the 8th seed would result in a first-round matchup against Minnesota Lynx, likely leading to elimination. More concerning is how this affects Indiana's draft positioning for next season. Connecticut Sun has begun winning games, potentially pushing Indiana from 4th to 8th in draft order due to playoff participation. The lottery implications become significant when considering 2 expansion teams entering the league. Missing the playoffs while finishing 9th would provide 4th best odds for the top pick in what appears to be a shallow 5 or 6 player draft class. The is you add 2 expansion teams in, and you go from projected 4th in the draft to 8th as the 8th seed. And the only difference is you got 2 games against the Minnesota Lynx where you got pummeled. And it's going to affect your draft pick, where for the Sparks, they're just giving the Storm a better pick. Ironically, long-term, for the Fever, you've given Storm a lottery pick. You've given the team with Baby Go a fucking lottery pick. And if you're the Fever, you give yourself a puncher's chance if you can get into this bracket where it's the Aces, Dream, Val. Reaching the 8th seed transforms this into the 8th overall selection, representing a substantial difference in talent acquisition. Strategic considerations favor avoiding certain playoff brackets. The potential 8th seed path through Minnesota Lynx, New York Liberty, and Phoenix Mercury appears insurmountable compared to alternative brackets featuring Las Vegas Aces, Atlanta Dream, and either Valkyries or Storm. Las Vegas presents vulnerabilities despite their talent level. Aja Wilson and Jackie Young remain elite performers, but exploitable weaknesses exist at power forward. Alyssa Thomas could be targeted defensively on every possession, while Kia Stokes provides limited offensive contributions. These factors suggest the Aces might be more beatable in playoff scenarios than their regular season record indicates. Indiana would likely defeat Atlanta in a playoff series and could potentially handle Phoenix in a best-of-3 format. Over 5 games, Phoenix's superior coaching and system cohesion might prove decisive, particularly given their coach's ability to maximize existing talent compared to Indiana's struggles in that area. Current standings show Indiana trailing Golden State by half a game, with tiebreaker disadvantages against the Valkyries but advantages over Seattle. Golden State has 5 games remaining with 1 probable victory against Dallas Wings. Their other matchups include New York Liberty, Seattle Storm, and Minnesota Lynx twice, including a season finale where Minnesota may rest players. The Valkyries' schedule presents a clear path to 23 wins. Defeating Dallas should be automatic, and facing Minnesota's reserves in the final game provides another likely victory. This scenario would require Indiana to finish 3-1 to overtake Golden State, which appears highly unlikely given their schedule. I could beat the Mercury as I face them in a best at 30, adding over 5 games. The Mercury have just too much. And the Mercury shouldn't have more talent than the Fever, especially with how bad Satu's been playing recently. And they don't have more talent than the Fever. They just have a coach that has built a system around their best player, and not a best player has been injured, and the coach, even when the player's there, is building their system against their best player. But, yeah, it's that you don't want to be in that 8 seed, but if you look at the Storm and the Vox, so we are a half a game back, and we have these tiebreak of the Storm. Indiana faces Phoenix next, representing a probable loss given their recent struggles against quality opponents. Following games against Chicago Sky and Washington Mystic should provide opportunities for victories, particularly if Caitlin Clark returns for those contests. The penultimate game against Minnesota poses significant challenges, as the Lynx will not rest players with games remaining afterward. Seattle Storm presents another complication with 3 remaining games against Los Angeles, New York, and Golden State. Their recent form shows 6 wins in 10 games, including a victory over Minnesota, suggesting a team-building momentum for playoff competition.